to do.
All right.
monitoring.
Pretend it's a crowded room because they're all watching online.
So,
Okay.
well, do you want to say
Go ahead.
anything? Okay. Well, thanks, Howard, for having us in here to talk about some of this stuff. So, most of you know who I am. I think all of you know who I am. I'm Rick Farmer. I own the Listing Edge. You know, we do photography, videography, floor plans, you know, all that kind of stuff for real estate. We do an awful lot for a lot of people in this office and people out in Facebook land, so on and so forth. And one of the way we do our floor plans is we use a system from Planitar, which is where Kevin is from, called the iGuide. And I wanted to bring Kevin in. He's the co-founder of the company and CEO.
Yep.
So he's head monkey monk. And he is, we're not here to pitch the iGuide. Okay, so we're definitely not here to sell the iGuide. What we're here to do is to share some information about the industry. More importantly, share information with you about what your customers, your sellers, and your buyers are looking for when it comes to what they're doing. Because you know, we don't always know that. We don't always know exactly. We think we know what our customers want, and we might even be right. What do we really know? Well, Kevin's got a lot of insight on that. He's got some numbers and some data that he wants to go over. So that's what we're going to talk about. So, any of you guys do floor plans?
I do.
Work for floor plans. I know Howard does.
I don't.
Do you have customers that are interested in floor plans?
Maybe.
I think every customer's interested in floor plan. They just don't know. That's why when they go into a model home for a builder, they all look at those floor plans. I love bringing them to the resale
That's
market.
great when you have it.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's really specifically what we wanted to focus on for this little short get together. So without further ado, I'll introduce my Canadian brother from Toronto.
Yeah.
And you can kind of have the show.
Terrific. Thanks, Rick, and
Yep.
thanks, Howard, for having us in. So, as Rick said, I'm co-founder of iGuide, and essentially what we've done is we've developed a mapping system, a camera and software that teams like Rick can take into a property and very quickly and efficiently document it. So we're collecting data that we translate into floor plans, room to measurements, floor area calculations, 3D tours, as well as photos. So when we look at this for the real estate industry, it's essentially a lot of the tools that buyers are looking for. In talking with Rick, one of the things that why I'm down in the United States and doing some of this is we've had phenomenal traction in Canada. The company started in 2014 and we're already the #1 content creators in the nation with nearly 10% of all homes sold, including the iGuide. And we just started in the US last year. And one of the things that we've seen happen in Canada is this growing importance of floor plans, measurements, areas, and that sort of information, and we're seeing it in the United States as well. So I'm here helping Rick and doing some of these introductions and meetings. Everything I claim, and I know my background is not sales and marketing, it's design and constructions, but my sales pitch is I'm going to help you win listings and help you do a better job marketing properties. And that claim is all rooted in this National Association of Realtors Profile of Home Buyers and Sellers report. Has anyone here read this or seen it? Perfect, because I'll tell you, being a technology company in real estate, I do get to travel around the United States, talk performing agents and teams and brokerages and everything else. And the one thing that's consistent among top performers is they look at every time this comes out as essentially Christmas morning. And you talk to a lot of these people, and what they tell me and what they tell others is just by following some of the tips in this book, you can be better than 80% of the agents out there. Because what this is it's a survey of your clients. They're telling you what they want and this and that, what buyers want, what sellers want. And now servicing realtors, we focus primarily on two aspects of this report when we're developing the iGuide. Number one, because we're primarily a tool for selling agents, we look at what do sellers want. Well, sellers want you to get their home out in front of the most eyeballs possible. They want to maximize the marketing exposure, so in turn they can achieve top dollar, and that they can sell in that fixed amount of time that they want, and they want it in the least disruptive environment possible. Selling is a very disruptive process, and they just want to try and minimize that. So you know that's what your sellers want. So when you're out doing that listing presentation, those are the check marks that they're going to look for you to tick off. Then in order to give that to the sellers, you look at what the buyers want. And every year there's a list of 10 things, 10 tools that buyers want to see when they're searching for a home. Any guesses what those are?
Well, number one is photos.
Number one is photos, absolutely. Number two is property details, specification, room measurements, and floor area calculations. Number three is floor plans, as you said. And you mentioned the new home construction. That's one of the primary reasons why people opt for new home construction is the psychology behind just getting a floor plan. Number four is virtual tours, so being able to virtually explore the space. And number five is neighborhood information. And I always like to say number 9 is video. Video is on there, but certainly not in that top 5.
What was after virtual tours?
Neighborhood information.
Thank you.
And if you have the report, it's Exhibit 3-18. So you can grab that there. So that's how we build our pitch for you, is when you look at what the iGuide is, and when we crafted iGuide specifically for the real estate market, we made sure that at a bare minimum, all 5 of those tools were packed into the iGuide so you could deliver all that to your clients and maximize eyeballs. One of the things that I can also say about iGuide is we are some of the most engaging content on the web. So a bit of rule of thumb is if you can get between a 1.5 and 2 minute view on your page, on your website, that's really setting a gold standard. For the iGuide, we're averaging 3.5 to 5.5 minute view durations. So what we're doing is we're getting not only eyeballs on your listings, on your properties and on your website, but we're also keeping them there. We're keeping them engaged, keeping them longer, which has 2 benefits. Number 1, that's time that's not being spent on competitive listings. And number 2, for online search and optimization, all that traffic you're rewarded for. And I'll show you some tips on that as well. So I will begin by giving you a demonstration of the iGuide. And I won't be offended. Has anyone here seen the iGuide yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So then you'll know that the iGuide is a combination of visual and spatial data presented side by side. And this is part of, we developed it this way, much like your brain. You are logical on the left-hand side and you are creative on the right. So as you're exploring the visuals on the right, you're also seeing that analytical, that logical information placing you in the property. So what you may or may not notice yourself, but your eyes are picking it up, is on that floor plan you've got that tracking cone motion. What that's doing is it's telling you exactly where you are in the space, how the whole thing fits, how it flows together, and gives you this incredible understanding of the spatial relationship. It also we give you the ability to navigate both by the floor plan as well as by clicking on doing that walk-through environment that everybody's probably familiar with. Nice part about this too, having these dual ways to navigate the space, and this is from a user's perspective, is they are not confined to the experience. You are not dictating how they go and travel around. They have the ability to jump into the master bedroom if they want. They can go directly into the family room if they want. In particular, when you look at engagement for people that are coming back to the iGuide multiple times, perhaps to show family or they're hiring contractors or decorators, it becomes a great tool that they have the ability to navigate around. We also provide a home for your photos. So if you've got your property photos, they go in here. If you have a video done, we also have the ability to include a video. One primary reason for packing all this within the iGuide window is on the search destination sites, whether it's Zillow or Realtor.com, you only have one multimedia link. So you don't want to have to choose, do I pick my aerial video, do I pick my iGuide, what do I do? Well, in this particular case, if you put them all in one spot, you don't have to choose, it's all there. And Rick, were you telling me, are room dimensions, are you, when you're creating a listing, are you required to enter room dimensions?
Yeah.
Like your room measurements? So we also provide you with all of your room measurements, as well as your floor area calculations. And we were talking about those floor plans. We provide you with your PDF floor plans as well. Why don't I use actually, whoops. one of your own office listings. So there are your room measurements. We provide them in metric and imperial format.
But who uses metric?
All of your overseas buyers. And when you
Everybody
look
but
at-
us.
I was reading the research, you know, Florida, the state of Florida is great for European buyers, Canadian buyers. We actually use metric. And then we also provide you with full floor plans,
What is your plus minus on the square footage?
99.6%.
Wow, okay,
Yeah.
That's a good question.
that's incredible.
Yeah. And we that is, as you know, the plus minus is your confidence level. Because with property measurement, you can't speak in terms of accuracy. You have to talk your plus minus in terms of confidence. So our confidence rating is 99.6%. So we provide you with a nice marketing summary plan, as well as full drawings for every floor of the space. So these have utilities, again, if you're wanting to submit anything to the city for plans or permit purposes, or simply marketing. And again, going back to the value of the floor plan in marketing. We've done a lot of research in terms of the psychology. If you go out and you're doing a listing presentation, and you tell your seller, I'm going to have new floor plans drawn of this home, psychologically, their interpretation of the cost of that floor plan is far greater than what it is. So most people, and we've looked, $500. Everybody says, well, how much to do a floor plan? $500. Psychologically, that's what they think. So you can do it for a lot less, but they think that they start ratcheting up all these things that you're including in your marketing. And again, for the buyers, it's very powerful for buyers to have these floor plans, to envision and plan the space.
Yeah, we're seeing so many, so many people buy now sight unseen,
Mm-hmm.
so it's really helpful.
Yeah,
Let me ask you another question. Is that screen I'm looking at right there embeddable?
yes.
How?
Through our embed code, and I'll walk you exactly through that and how to use it on your website.
Great.
We also have offered a number of tools to make iGuide far more practical, not only during the marketing, but also during the closing. If you look down here, we've got this on-screen measurement tool. I go up to this window, and if you follow me along the floor plan, I'm actually able to go in and take measurements. So if you see up there,
Yeah.
so that's really helpful to allow the user to go in and take custom on-screen measurements, not only during the marketing, but in particular during the closing. And when we talk about how we're addressing the needs of the disruption to the seller, you put this in the hands of the buyer. Now it becomes a tool for them to hire the contractors or decorators, go out and buy furniture. That means fewer walkthroughs, fewer trips to the house, fewer emails, fewer calls. This becomes a complete project management tool for the buyers, buyer representatives, hiring contractors and decorators. We also give them the ability to go in and take custom photos. So again, if there's a deficiency or perhaps you really like that light and you want to write it into the offer, we've got this little take picture tool. So now you can take a snapshot of that, write that into the offer, and now you've got documentation. When you're doing that final inspection, is that the same light fixture, was everything there? So it really is very much a documentation tool. Slowly.
Yeah, that computer seems to not love the internet.
That's okay. And then lastly, we've got this neighborhood information. So we can include schools, restaurants, pretty much everything that everybody else. It's fairly commonplace to have this sort of thing, but again, we wanted to make sure that with the iGuide, we were addressing those top 5 things that buyers, those top 5 tools that buyers wanted to see when they're searching for a home. And that is all packed into that embeddable iGuide window. So this, as you see right now, that's an embedded frame. The way in which iGuide is delivered is through our iGuide report. So Rick and his team and Tony will come out, they will shoot your home. One of our claims is we are the fastest, most efficient documentation system on the market. If you're familiar with Matterport, they're usually about 1,000 square feet an hour. So 3 hours to do a 3,000 square foot home. With our camera, Rick and Tony can shoot your home in 30 minutes. So 3,000 square feet in 30 minutes.
Well, I did a 10,000 square foot house recently. I did photos, aerial, and iGuide in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Can you scroll back up?
Yeah.
I see you have on the that embeddable thing, the Google goggle in
Yeah,
the bottom right
3D.
corner. Right. So where is this? Isn't on YouTube though. This is being housed on your server.
It is on our server, it can be on your server. really can go wherever. So yeah,
It's one of the benefits, you can download the iGuide and keep it locally. It doesn't have to be hosted by us. So if you want to put it on a laptop or on a tablet to do remote sites without internet connection, you can show them.
Right. So when this iGuide report comes out, it's a series of links, downloads, tools, and all your measurements. First off, we have links to your tours in branded and unbranded format. So unbranded for the search destinations, and then branded for wherever you want to. So if you're linking it to your own website, you've got a branded version of it. We also provide PDF links to the floor plans in metric and imperial format. Again, thinking that wherever, and the idea should be anywhere you can include a floor plan, that is that one marketing tool that you really want to drive. So we provide web links to those. We provide you with a downloadable gallery of your MLS or your web-ready photos. We also provide you with the ability to download your high-resolution photos if you're doing print. We also have JPEG floor plans, which very shortly is going to be modified where we're actually going to put those right in the other image gallery as well. But this is what Rick was talking about, the offline iGuide. And we have a lot of clients that use this iGuide, this downloadable iGuide, for two reasons, or realtors that use it for two reasons. Number one, agents like to create their own library of iGuides so that when they're out doing a listing presentation to show a comp, instead of that 3-page printout of all the comps, you actually put it on a thumb drive, load it up on your laptop, and now you're taking that next seller through a comparable property, giving them a lot more insight. The other thing too is a lot of our agent clients will download that, and when that seller is moving into their next home, give them a copy of it. It's a phenomenal reference tool for that seller when they're moving into their new place to understand how.
So in that case, though, you'd use an iGuide on their new home they bought. That's a buyer usage thing, right? Or you're saying because the seller used it before. Okay, so the listing agent of home A used an iGuide that my buyer happened to buy.
Yeah.
I can take that iGuide and give it to them.
Well, what you would do is give that iGuide to your seller. So
No, I have the buyer. You said.
Oh, you're the buyer agent?
Right, because you said give it to the buyer as a reference when they move into their new home.
Give it to, all right, so if you just sold your house to me, and you're now moving into your new one,
The seller
I
gives
give
it
you
to the buyer as a gift. A
Yeah.
house, or here's a, okay.
Yeah, so now the buyer can use it, but then the seller can also refer back to, how did we have the kids' room set up? How did we have this
Okay.
set up? Because it's generally locked down. Once a property's sold, you lock these things down. What you can do is give the buyer access to it, and they can go and create their own views, and then the seller can have the downloadable version. We have a feature sheet creator tool as well that imports all of your images in, and in a matter of a few quick seconds, you can go in and create your own custom. Actually, if the internet's a bit slow, it might be a bit longer, but your own 2 or 4 page feature sheet for the property. And then when you asked about embed code, so each iGuide report has this embedding tool. And if you're doing this at scale, you can build it into your program so it goes in automatically, but essentially we've got a series of basic and advanced options allowing you to embed the iGuide within your own page.
In an iframe.
In an iframe.
That's excellent to me.
There are all of our listing of your room measurements, as well as your floor area calculations. And what we also provide is our method of measurement. So if you ever find yourself in some form of discrepancy around floor areas, there's 4 things, and I used to work in construction litigation. There's 4 things that a judge or mediator or arbitrator will want to see. They'll want to see your floor plans, your room measurements, your floor area calculations, and your method of measurement. So we give you all 4. So you've really got a defensible form of property documentation. That is the iGuide report. Third pillar of iGuide is our iGuide Analytics, and if you walked in, you let Rick know that I want to receive our weekly analytics report. Every Monday morning, you'll be emailed this report card. Gives you an indication of how many visits you've had all the time, how many visitors were unique, and how long they stayed. And we provide this data in 3 sets: the last 7 days, the last 8 weeks, and all time.
Can you show the one for Chris's? We were looking at that, and they were pretty interesting numbers, I thought.
I don't have his analytics because
Okay.
I'm not on my machine.
Okay, sorry.
But yeah, that's why
He was going over, Chris Janikowski did this one with us, and he was talking about what a nice job Chris, I wish Chris was here, that Chris had done in promoting the whole listing, including the iGuide, and the numbers were bearing fruit, so to say, and that's the whole thing, is this is going to show you that what you're doing is working, or it's not working, and what you should do to make it work. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no. And that's just it. So that's what this analytics report does, is it shows you where your traffic's coming from. And the fascinating thing about Chris is in preparation to come down here, I took a look at one of the properties that were done out of this brokerage, and he had phenomenal Facebook traffic. Like a lot of the engagement to his listing was coming through Facebook. And so I went and I looked at his Facebook posts and things that he was doing, and really firing on all cylinders. So what that's doing is now taking it off of winning that listing of what you're doing for buyers and sellers. Now, what is iGuide doing for you and helping build your brand and things? Well, certainly what you can do on your website. There's 2 big trends right now that we're seeing in real estate listings, and it is embedded content. What you want to do from a brokerage standpoint is have those eyeballs coming to your page. And I will bring up, as an example, this particular listing that I was looking at, 1432, okay? So, gorgeous, like you've got a phenomenal website, it's beautiful. And Chris has got a link to our iGuide where people can go and actually explore the home and engage with it. So as soon as they come here, this is when your 3.5 and 5.5 minutes start the timer starts. The unfortunate fact is now all that traffic's on my site, not on yours. So if you do this embedded content, now you're getting all the search gains, you're getting all the benefit from these tours. The other thing too that we're seeing is, like Chris did, I have his Facebook open, is his Facebook post also had a link back to the iGuide, whereas what he could have done is linked it back. If you had embedded it into your website, he could have driven all that traffic back to the Roundtable site. And again, what we see, because of the online engagement of our technology, and we partnered with Google in July, serving up our content for business tours, and they found us primarily because our search or our engagement times were through the roof. They couldn't believe how long people were spending on each iGuide page, which is a tour. So if you can get eyeballs on that iGuide and get rewarded for it, that's really going to help if somebody's looking for a realtor in Jacksonville. Well, the search directories know you're serving up things that people want to see and people like, so you start percolating to the top in terms of search. As well as doing some of these Facebook posts and things, what that does is that really builds your own brand online too. And another big stat that we're seeing that we're probably going to see balloon in the next couple of years is the use of social media in the real estate process. You're hearing about it, Facebook's, everybody's exploring it, getting involved in real estate. You're going to see social media really forming a prominent role. So that's where it's good to start testing your water in terms of social content. And we've even built in the tools for you to post it wherever you want, whether it's to Facebook. Let me jump back in here. So when your report comes, you can share on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, really wherever you want to go, and automatically create those posts.
He said Google+.
You know what's funny is we just met with Google in Toronto actually, and they use Google Plus religiously
Of course they
as their business, internal business communication mechanism.
The problem is nobody else does.
I know.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Well, it supports a lot. It's one of the pillars behind driving a lot of other Google tech,
Yeah.
like the Google business profiles and things like that. Like we were down in Mountain View a few weeks ago at the Google Summit, and it's phenomenal. Like a lot of the applications we work on with Google are unrelated to real estate, but a lot of the learnings can directly be funneled into real estate, and it all comes down to search and engagement. So aside from what our technology is doing by giving you floor plans, measurements, areas, like all the things that your buyers and sellers want to see, because our tech is what people are looking at online, we can also help you with your brand. And that's a really exciting thing. Like what we can do, we now produce Google Business Tours using our iGuide camera system, which we should probably do this office too.
I've been after them.
What it does for your search.
You're more than welcome to anytime.
Well, you gotta pay for it.
Oh, no.
That'll be our giveaway today.
Yeah.
What
we'll
it
do
does
that
for your
one
search
for free.
optimization is incredible. We've seen mom and pop coffee shops go from page in the local search to #1 on the first page. Like it's unreal.
What now? What are just non-Google tours, but regular iGuide tours? Other than if you're embedding on your page and you're getting a lot of clicks and you're getting a lot of time engaged, is there any other kind of pluses that they pick up from an SEO standpoint?
Well, absolutely. So, and that's where when people are running random searches like Jacksonville real estate or real estate brokerage, again, gone are the days of the meta tags and keywords where that's how you improve your ranking. It's all about number of visits and engagement rates. So how many people are organically coming to your site and how long are they staying? And the more that you can generate that, the higher you will lift in terms of ranking. And that's really where they're developing the sweet spots right now. Everybody's about social content and user-driven demand. So if you can create stuff that the search companies recognize as content that people want to see, and that's in terms of number of visits and engagement times, you're going to see yourself really ratchet up in the rankings. And that's great from the brokerage standpoint. So if you could find a way to bake some of this content in your listing page instead of redirecting it to our servers, that would really help in terms of search optimization. And it's really easy to do, even on a global scale and on a one-off scale. But this is what we're seeing a lot of, using that picture window, and if it's one or even a secondary tab or something else, the big movement we're seeing is in the engagement and the content going in there. We're even seeing that in the search destinations. Like we formed a partnership with the Canadian Real Estate Association. We're the only company where when an iGuide's created, they serve our content up in the #1 position, and they actually pull our floor plans in, so that they're pulling all that data in. And we launched that one in November of last year, and within 3 weeks we went from an 8% engagement rate to an 80% engagement rate on the tour and a 68% engagement rate on the floor plan. So, like, they knew right away that's the stuff that buyers are looking for. That's what they want to see.
Any questions? Just use the iGuide. There you go.
That's our dog.
Well, thanks for everybody for coming, and we appreciate that.